We're going to go straight to the Secretary General of the Kenya Red Cross, Dr. Asha Mohamed, who joins us live right now. Dr. Mohamed, thank you so much for joining us here on Sunday Live. First question. First, you have COVID, and then throw floods on top of that. How desperate? Paint a picture for us on the ground right now.
Thank you, Jeff. The situation is very dire, and I think as has already been seen, more and more people are getting displaced, and the prediction that there could be still more rain in some of these regions means that more people are going to get displaced. And the conditions within which people are displaced for sure puts them even at higher risk of actually contracting COVID. And so this is really a worrying situation, even for us as first responders, because now when you have so many people in a camp, so many people living in some makeshift housing, how do we ensure that the measures that we need to take to keep away the coronavirus can actually happen? When you cannot keep physical distance, when you do not have clean, safe water to continue to wash your hands as has been advised, this becomes very, very challenging.
So, Dr. Mohamed, what are the worst hit areas right now, and what does the damage look like?
The worst hit area, I would say, first of all, is the western part of the country. So this is Nyanza and western Kenya. In particular, Kisumu is, I would say, the worst in that region, with almost 8,000 households affected. And then we have Busia and Budalangi in particular. I think we have continued to see that it's continuing actually to get even worse, and many other counties in that region. But also the North Rift, where we first had the landslides in West Pokot and also Elgeyo Marakwet. A day before, yesterday, we also had another landslide again in Elgeyo Marakwet. Tana River is also another area that has been affected.
How desperate the situation is. In other words, what do people need right now on the ground? Paint a picture of us. Food, shelter, tell us, what do they need right now?
First and foremost, Jeff, I think what's important is to also realize that there are still people who are also marooned. Therefore, search and rescue is very important. We have seen people who have been rescued 2 days later, 3 days later. So we need to ensure that everyone is rescued. And then shelter is a big priority. So people need to be given a place to stay, which also then can shield them from the continued rain. Food is another big priority. But there's also the question of healthcare. I think, as has been said already even by the ministry, that not many people are now going to the health facilities for treatment of other illnesses. But the situation is even worse now with the floods, because some of the roads are cut, bridges have been destroyed in some of the areas. So even access to these health facilities is becoming a challenge. Therefore, people need to be reached in terms of ensuring that they can continue to get health care. We have tried to also do some mobile clinics in, for example, Kisumu, and we are seeing an increase in upper respiratory tract infections and also malaria. So we need to ensure that people get treatment also as soon as possible.
Dr. Mohamed, a question on mitigation here. Chester Nyantika on Twitter asking, the problem of floods in Kenya is recurrent and perennial in nature, and as such, it's high time the government of Kenya and other stakeholders seriously address matters to do with disaster. We have these floods year in, year out. How can we be better prepared and more proactive so it's not always response and recovery?
No, I agree, Victoria. And even for us as an institution, we are saying, yes, we respond, but it is not sustainable. And therefore, we need to find a long-term solution, because as we have seen now, the disasters are increasing. The duration between one disaster and the next one is reducing. Therefore, it means that people are getting continuously vulnerable, but also the numbers of those that are being affected is increasing. So it's important that we actually come together to look at what are the causes of these floods and what can we do about it. Is it about desilting the rivers? Is it about something to do with the lake that we need to really act? Is it about ensuring that people are building safe shelter which can withstand some of the disasters that happen? So I agree that, yes, we need to look for a long-term solution.
And what about funding? Because at a time like this, most of the resources are going, obviously, to COVID-19. How else are you trying to get support?
Victoria, this is a big challenge because, yes, now everyone is talking about COVID-19. Even as the Red Cross, our big supporters are other sister Red Cross societies globally. And unfortunately, they are also having to deal with a bigger situation in their own countries to do with COVID-19. But I think it's important to actually come back and say that the same population that we are trying to ensure do not get infected are the same populations that are affected by these other disasters, and in particular now floods. So we have to ensure that these resources are actually stretched to ensure that they can actually be used to mitigate these impacts. So I would actually advocate for an integrated approach to ensure that we are able to reach the same populations, talking about COVID-19 prevention, but also ensuring that we deal with the effects of the floods.
Yeah, Dr. Asha Mohamed, would have to leave it at that for now. Thank you so much. We wish you all the very best of luck, you and the entire Kenya Red Cross.
Thank you.